Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today I don't expect to see a single infantry unit at all, as Survivalist playing as the Cumans in red prepares to take on the Bloodless playing as the Huns in blue. Now while the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP, not a bad opportunity for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. The Cumans are an incredibly fast civilization with a few super cool features. To start with all of their mounted units, I'm looking at you, Mr. Scout Line units do move progressively faster as the game goes on, all the way up to 15% faster in the Imperial Age, which does help them better maneuver their unique unit, the Kipchak. This is a mounted archer unit that fires multiple arrows, although only the first one does full damage. Now, some Cuman mounted units, Scout Line units, Step Lancers, Cav Archers can be upgraded to train in half the time. Now, if you want to put some fast early game pressure on your opponent, the Cumans can actually build a siege workshop in the Feudal Age, although you are limited to building or training only rams. If instead you prefer to pressure your opponent with ranged or mounted units, well, instead of siege, you can build archery ranges and stables galore because they only cost 100 wood apiece. Now, if instead you don't want to go military, you prefer to live a life of peace and commerce and resource gathering and so forth, the Cumans, in addition to being able to build a siege workshop in the Feudal Age, can also build a second town center in the Feudal Age, although remember that this does take a lot of time and resources and does pull villagers off of the production line. Now, to protect their booming economy, the Cumans, like the Goths, don't actually get stone walls, although unlike the Goths, any palisades that Survivalist might build this game will come with 33% more HP. Let's take a look to the south. Somebody who might want to bust their way through some Cuman palisades. We've got the Bloodless playing as the Huns, civilization designed to take the fight to its enemy with speed and mobility. Hunnic cavalry archers get progressively cheaper, 10% in castle, 20% cheaper in imperial. Their trebs fire more accurately at units. Their stables work faster than normal, which is fantastic news for them because, like the Goths, they can upgrade their stables, or I guess their military buildings, because the Goths can upgrade their barracks. I'll continue with the analogy. Like the Goths, they can upgrade one of their military buildings to train their unique unit. In this case, I'm talking about the stable, and in this case, I'm talking about the Tarkin. This is a medium cavalry unit with a high amount of pierce armor and an attack bonus against buildings that makes it absolutely fantastic at late game raiding and destruction. Now, to help support its military, the Huns don't actually require houses. Take a look at the top of the screen there on the center where my mouse is very languidly circling around the number 200. The Huns do start every single game with 200 population space already available, which does free up both wood and villager construction time early on, but it does come at the cost of 100 wood right from the very beginning of the game, as 2 villagers get trapped between a mill and some berries. Not a bad place to be on a closed map like Arena. Not too sure Survivalist is going to be able to bust into here and do anything against that, so a nice little maneuver to increase the efficiency and the drop-off time of these villagers. So these are 2 civilizations. Like I said, I do not expect to see infantry out of these lightning fast civilizations. Very much mounted civilizations, and by the way, very much becoming one of my favorite duos to cast, Survivalist and the Bloodless. Their Elos bounce up and down here and there, but on the whole, the vast majority of games that I have casted and watched between these 2 players have just been absolutely fantastic. Survivalist, a fellow Canadian, the Bloodless, I believe, an American, one of our neighbors to the south. Although Survivalist is currently in Japan, so I guess would be one of our neighbors to the very far east from Japan is Canada or the US. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. Is a super fun time whenever these 2 players meet. Like I used to say about MBL and Hart when they were in the Aftermath clan, oh, so many moons ago, and they were always practicing with one another on the ranked ladder, you were more likely than not going to see some fun games with unique units, big armies, strategies galore, tricks and trades, and all of that good stuff. In this case, Survivalist, Bloodless, Rising Stars are becoming, like I said, one of my favorite. Plus, these are 2 super fast civilizations. My big question in this particular game is, will Survivalist go for an aggressive Cuman Feudal Age, or pardon me, or will he go for a second town center? Survivalist generally on Arena, as with games we've seen, at least the ones I've casted, on this channel has been playing quite defensively. Okay, well, there you go. We have our answer immediately, and this is what I'm talking about. 8 villagers who are pulled off the production line, not gathering resources at all at the moment. So this second TC, as powerful as it is on Arena, when it's very hard to punish early on because of the presence of these stone walls with 1080 HP, is a very powerful medium to long-term boost to your villager count and your productivity. The immediate term is not so great because, again, you're pulling 8 villagers off. They are building a TC. Although with 8 villagers, it doesn't take too long to construct. In the meantime, Bloodless just now going up to the next age off the back of 4 fewer villagers. Survivalist wanted to get to Feudal Age as soon as he possibly could so that he could start getting that production of the second TC up and running. Or just a construction of the second TC up and running. And now let's see. Let's see what the Bloodless does. Let's see what Survivalist does. He now has the ability to train twice as many villagers. He's got 6 in the queue to the 2 of his opponent. His opponent, by the way, has them queued up after the Roman numeral 2 because he is still not in the Feudal Age. Although with 535 food, 130 gold, I'm assuming by the time he clicks up and constructs his... he doesn't even have enough wood for 2 buildings, but maybe soon. Once he finishes his 2 requisite buildings. For Castle Age, Bloodless should be in a good position. There we go. He's already at 780 food, dropping off some of that meat that he is harvesting in the farmlands market and a stable. So he's going to contest relics. And I do apologize. You may hear a little bit of clicking here and there in this video. I'm going to try to edit all of these out, but the unit right above me is undergoing massive renovations. It really sounds like they're tearing the floors right out of the actual unit. There's a lot of hammering, a lot of scraping, a lot of very annoying sounds for somebody who works at home and is trying to cast a game. And because we are still in daylight hours, they are technically allowed to do it. So we'd have to live with it. If you hear a little bit of a thudding here and there, please do forgive me. Like I said, I'm going to try to edit out those thumps and thuds and all the annoying sounds. And if I miss one or two, I do apologize. Now, Bloodless already heading up to Castle Age. Survivalist nowhere freaking close. Who's going to take this? Their HP is dropping at the exact same moment. And it is Survivalist whose scout takes this, but maybe not for long. Maybe not for long. Avenge me, cries the blue scout as he dies, but Survivalist is a little bit too quick on the draw, even though... Oh, pardon me, never mind. I was going to say, even though his scout should be slower, but my apologies, his scout is actually faster, I believe. 1.63 tiles per second to the 1.55 because the Bloodless does not have Husbandry yet. With Husbandry, he should have been able to catch up. That does add 10% movement speed, and the human right now just has a natural plus 5%. So Husbandry at the moment does outrun the Cuman bonus. In Castle Age, it catches up. And then in Imperial, that's where the Cuman maneuverability, the fastest moving paladin in the freaking game, goes to the Cuman. And by the way, speaking of fast in game and all that good stuff, our Hun lowering the Ark of the Covenant into his temple, his monastery. He's going to be out collecting relics right now. And a scout with 5 HP, make that 2 HP, makes that 0 HP. Never mind, I was going to say is not really going to be the biggest of threats to monks, but the Bloodless does ultimately avenge the fallen scout here at the top of the map. And you see how Bloodless already in the Castle Age, already getting a second town center up. Survivalist just now clicking up to the Castle Age. So he's clicking up with a 14 villager lead at the moment. And we'll see whether or not our Hun decides to invest in more and more villagers. But at the end of the day, our Hun will have 3 town centers earlier than our Cuman. Because again, when you pull 8 villagers off the gathering, off the farming and the lumberjacking and the hunting and the golding and the quarry mining, that does come at a cost. For now, Bit of a soft little contain here out of our Hun, who I see a very slow blue dot moving out onto the map. Now, we've also seen Survivalists do this in the past, where he just abandons relics. He says, you know what? I have a game plan. I'm going to do something. I have an idea here, and I don't really care about the relics. And I love that Bloodless is taking the furthest relics first. He could have easily taken this relic, have returned home with it by now. I'm assuming this one blue monk is heading to this relic. But I love getting the riskier relics, the further relics first. That just makes it so much harder for your opponent to get their relics. Although, again, Survival is 13 seconds away from the next age. Does have 11 villagers on stone, which means we are going to get to see a castle. Will it be a Survivalist special defensive castle, or will it be a bit of an offensive castle? For now, he just needs a bit more. 72 stone pebbles. So, not a lot of action at this point. Just a couple of OG scouts biting the dust. We'll see if the game does follow the natural 1, 2, 3 punch of Arena. And there we go. It's Survivalist. So, of course, a very defensive castle out of him. The 1, 2, 3 punch, of course, being stage 1 of Arena. Everybody rushes in quotation marks when you're playing against the Cumans to Castle Age. Once in Castle Age, stage 1 of the game, and stage 2 begins when the monks start getting out onto the map, gathering these relics, these physics-defying golden idols. And once all 5 relics are accounted for, which may be very, very soon, in fact, then stage 2 of the game is over, and we enter stage 3, where the players build their armies, clash them into one another, head up to Imperial, get all their techs in order, and all that good stuff. For now, Survival is prioritizing Fletching and Bodkin, and our first Kipchak is out. Fascinating. So he is going Kipchaks with a very defensive castle. Looks like the 4th relic is getting got here for our Hun as well. Might want to move his monastery, or build another monastery a little bit more to the rear, so that he can keep these relics safe. He, by the way, sees the Kipchaks as they start pumping his light cavalry full of arrows. And now they're pivoting to the left, but Bloodless wants none of it. He's already heading out. Survivalist, where are you going with these 4 villagers? You do not have enough stone for a castle. But what you do have is enough wood for something. Now, what will that something be? Let's see. Beautiful scouting here out of Bloodless, who now has bloodlines. It is a siege workshop. 3rd kill of the game at the 22-minute mark goes to our red Cuman as well, who is now facing a 5-0 relic deficit. Oh no. When your cav archers are already discounted. Now, I would love to see, this might be one of those games where I actually do kind of want to see cavalry archers, because it's always fun to watch cav archers versus Kipchaks. Oh, goodness gracious. Yikety yike. Kipchaks, technically, because they fire those additional arrows that do 3 damage, or pardon me, 3 pierce, 0 melee damage, technically are, I think, more powerful than cav archers. They're quicker on the draw. I think their attack delay, where is that? Attack delay is 0.49 seconds, I think, to the 0.8 maybe of cav archers. That being said, the Hun with the discounts, 10-20% is not a laughing matter. Plus, the Hun does get Bracer, which Survivalist does not. That being said, the Hun also is missing the last armor upgrade, which Survivalist is not. What is going on here? A couple of light cavalry pivoting to the right side. Ooh, he's busted in, but he's busted in straight into a castle that is just about to finish right as the Rams turn around. And now you got to pivot somewhere else. I really don't like these relics here in the super duper forward position. But now that he's lost, maybe not all of his monks, he does have 1 monk left. Yeah, I don't know. I would move these back, especially since they're literally on the attack path. You've spent all of your stone on a castle. Survivalist says, hey, nice static defense. You know what the problem with static defense is? It's static. And so I'm just going to pivot here a few tiles to the left. And this is where, for example, a Cav Archer right now would do 1 damage to this gate because it has 6 Pierce Armor, but the Kipchak, by virtue of firing 3 arrows, each one gets reduced to 1, so they do 3 damage. This is where the Kipchak's Chukanu-like ability comes in very handy. And he's going straight for the relics. He says, thank you for gathering them for me into one beautiful location. Survivalist has 2 monks in the forward position here. It is one who is about to die. Converted Kipchak ultimately gets the kill, then gets killed himself. We've got our first villager kills of the game as these light cav and a couple of knights do swarm over this position. And that is the end of Survivalist's push. Kipchak's total kills 9 are just gonna back away. Both players licking their wounds for the moment. Both players going economic upgrades at the moment. Villager count firmly in favor of our Hun, who is ahead 13 villagers. And this is the thing, right? Like I said, he is going to be on 3 town centers a long time before Survivalist is even thinking about 3 town centers. And here are some of those cheaper stables. A single Step Lancer and then Imperial Age. Okay, Imperial Age for both players, literally about 20 seconds apart, if not less. All right, well, there we go. Stage 2 of the game is over. All 5 relics are accounted for. Again, this is open. This is open. Might want to move these relics. They've already generated 1,100 gold for the Bloodless, who's now getting Marauders. That's the name. That's basically the Anarchy for the Goths, Marauders for the Huns. So he's going to be able to train Tarkans out of his stables. And Tarkans with 4 base armor are going to do pretty damn good against these Kipchaks. Survivalist with a very aggressive castle. The Bloodless with a very defensive castle off to the right. Castle gives him access to the stone. Stone gives him access to a few more castles. And look at this, preemptively walling himself in here on the right side is our Cuman. But out sallies forth the Han to contest this. Are there enough light cavalry? They do have +2 armor. They are going for the villagers. There's so many villagers, there's not even enough room here for them to make it to the construction site. A couple of Step Lancers are stacked here behind. It looks like the castle probably will go up. A monk is trying to get the convert. He does get the conversion on the villager. A single knight leading Survivalist away from the battlefield. The castle should be going up any second. It does. And so a valiant effort there from the Bloodless to get that castle denial. Unfortunately, he does not. Unfortunately for the unfortunate, fortunately, the Bloodless is first to Imperial Age. The Bloodless is first to Imp with 2 nearby castles. Survivalist just has 1 over here, the other one all the way over here. So in addition to the 50-second training time for the Treb, it's going to have to move all the way down south here. I don't know if it's worth it to even train the second Treb, given how far away this castle is, versus just training it right after this one here and letting it pop out immediately. Trebs, I believe, do move 0.8 tiles per second. Which means, again, by the time that Treb even gets here, will it even be quicker than training? Oh, never mind. Survivalist is training 2 more Trebs here. Conscription for him as well. Bowsaw and armor upgrades for his cavalry for our Hun. Another converted villager lives for a brief second, then bites the dust. And Survivalist is starting to puncture his way through here. The relics are still safe and sound. 1750 gold they've added to the Hunnic coffers. But Survivalist castle is down. He has busted in through here though, and will he go straight for the relics a second time? Kipchaks are firing on the villagers. Always fun to see those hails of crazy arrow count. Much like the Chukanu, just so many arrows. And I believe, like the Chukanu, the Kipchak does fire all of the arrows at once, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I wanted to see cavalry archers versus Kipchaks. Instead, I'm seeing elite Tarkans with 8 pierce armor Monastery is down. Access to relics is down. Castle is down. Survivalist is making inroads here. He has an outpost as well, so he sees this Hunnic army coming from a mile away, and he's tiefing the external gold of his opponent. But his Treb count is now reset to 0. He does have one converted Tarkin somewhere. And in they come. Torches held high, going straight for the monk. Nope, never mind. Going straight around the monk. But we've got Steppe Lancers here. Steppe Lancers and Kipchaks. This is a pretty big army for our Cuman, who is ahead 20 army count, down 26 villagers. And here he goes. Bloodless realizes I can't really engage into here. Now Survivalist adding a 4th town center after that 3rd that he's added. So maybe he'll start catching up in villager count. But his forward position completely denied, and a 3rd castle going up. That's what happens when you safely mine your external stone all the live long day. No opposition whatsoever. The creepiest attack animation in the entire game is the Tarkin. If you're not familiar with this, no, it's not the sound of a sword or a bow and arrow or whatever. It's just a whooshing of air. It just goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's kind of hard to hear with the Treb, but yeah, now we'll try to hear it. No, never mind. The building falls immediately. I like that Survivalist was so cocky that he could get the relics away from his opponent, that he built a forward monastery here as well. It is just a whooshing sound as that flaming torch that they're holding just absolutely burns everything, building and unit. But look at the armies. Double the army count for our Cumans, 60 to 30. And he's now down 42 villagers. Is Survivalist playing this a little bit too defensive? He is planning a massive push here in terms of production. There are houses going up all over the place for our Cuman. Tarkin's a little bit off to the side with a single knight, not a Frankish knight, so the line of sight is not great on this unit. Archery ranges. We are going to get to see cav archers. Okay. All right. Now, he has seen a few Steppe Lancers when he tried to take down Survivalist's castle or deny Survivalist's castle. The question is, has he seen this many? 51. He's going to see them now. Oh my god, Survivalist stacks his Steppe Lancers in the most perfect way possible. These Tarkins are going to get shredded to pieces. Hunnic Trebs. Remember, Hunnic Trebs do fire 35% more accurately at units, but it doesn't matter. Look at the stacking on the Steppe Lancers, just absolutely destroying that Hunnic army. Oh, God. Oh, goodness gracious. Bye, Bloodless's army. It is now 60 to 20. But he's an Imperial. He's replacing them with cheaper cavalry archers. I'm trying to see where these cavalry archers are. I see a lot of Tarkins still. But where the hell are the cav archers? Are they here on the right side? No, now he's getting even more stone. Okay. One way to deal with the faster moving, any faster moving army, to be fair, is just to plop down a bunch of castles. Heavy cav archer. Bracer for our Hun. Survivalist, our Cuman, feeling so supremely confident that he is pushing into this position. He knows, he suspects he's got the better army here. Even though not quite fully upgraded just yet. The numbers, I mean, it's hard not to feel cocky and confident when you've got how many? 51 about to become elite Steppe Lancers on the field. I mean, anyone with 51 elite Steppe Lancers must be feeling so supremely confident. And is it any wonder why he's plopping down 5 forward stables as he gets rid of the second Hunnic castle to be destroyed, leaving only one very defensive castle being rebuilt here. But you've already researched Marauders. Atheism probably not going to come into play since you're the one with all 5 relics. And by the way, now they're safe and sound. Beautiful play out of the Bloodless. Absolutely epic. Forget the palisades. I'm just going to place a whole bunch of houses here. But one knight is heading that way. One villager, 2. Pardon me, I didn't even see the second villager. She was right behind the first one. Looks like he's about to bite the dust. Just as at the same time, this one knight. Ooh, I was going to say he might get trapped in here, but never mind. Keep an eye on that knight, as it looks like Survivalist is pressing in. Ooh, do you really want to press into here? Look at how quickly everything just falls to 51, 55 freaking step lancers. And let's just watch the carnage unfold. Tarkans are kind of stuck behind villagers on the right side, but cav archers are starting to pick away at this army. Not fully upgraded, still missing chemistry, still 30 seconds away. But here are some hussars to block the path. Survivalist numbers are still very strong. 41 step lancers, 37, but slowly they are falling. There is a castle here adding DPS. Looks like the Tarkans and the cav archers are picking off reinforcements, which means if the Bloodless can deal with only 13 step lancers, should be in a good position. Why is Survivalist attacking the farm? He was attacking the farm. And now all of a sudden, look at the army counts. 41 to 28 in favor of our Hun, who with the meat shield, with the cavalry archers, the Tarkans, and the misclick of his opponent attacking into this one farm, has been able to hold on here. And not only hold on, but push out as well. These 4 step lancers, having killed those 2 villagers, are very happy to stay alive right now. How's that knight doing? Oh, he's not going to survive very long, not when he's poked from the outside. Remember, step lancers do have 1 range. What an absolute bonkers game. What are you rebuilding here? Archery ranges on the left, more stables on the right. When they only cost 100 wood, is it any surprise we're not seeing like 20 of them? Army count, the Bloodless is at 69 to 41. He's ahead 4 villagers, both players killing a few villagers here and there. 26 by Survivalist, 22 by our Hun. Now remember, Survivalist does also have access to hussars. What he doesn't have is the gold to upgrade his light cav to hussars. Deletes his own building so that he can get a nice surround. What a beautiful pair of armies here. But the meat shield's on the wrong side for blue. It's in the south. Uh-oh. Luckily for him, Survivalist decides to back away. Getting stone mining, gold mining upgrades, elite skirmishers. Survivalist is going to try to slow down the pace of the game, try to add a few counter units. There's a lot of maneuvering out of both of these players, out of both of these armies. Villagers are falling left, right, and center. More gold miners here to the north. There is so much death, but look at the total kill count. 196 to 200. Basically the exact same kill count after 47 minutes. Mining camp off to the right under attack. Villagers under attack over here by these 2 cavalry archers that got trapped. Okay. How many kills total on the 53 cav archers? 65 kills. The Bloodless's maneuvering is absolutely epic. He is keeping Survivalists running around as much as he can while his cav archers just keep pumping them full of arrows over and over again. And now he's getting the resources off to the left side as well. Has already mined out the stone here. Not quite mined out the stone over here. But the quick fingers of our Hun make no entrance. No occupation allowed, he says to our Cuman. And now, wait a second though, there are a good number of skirmishers, 24 of them. And no trade is a good trade against skirmishers. Now, it's funny that the Bloodless is using hussars to attack these structures when he has literally one of the best building destroying units in the game in the form of the Tarkan. But a bunch of his army is just here attacking this mining camp. Why the hell do you care about that mining camp? And Survivalist moves out. He's trying to stack. He's trying to close in on these cavalry archers. I believe his step lancer should be faster. 1.68 to 1.54. And he is in fact doing his opponent a very big favor by picking off these hussars, because I see Bloodless has replaced them with Tarkans, and Tarkans are going to destroy these structures very fast. Look at the attack bonuses of a Tarkan. Building, castle, stone defense, wall and gate, Everything is meant to fall under the might of that flaming torch, and more infrastructure out of our Hun. Siege workshops, okay. I'm hoping for his sake that we're gonna get to see rams and not basic mangonels. Hunnic siege is absolutely atrocious. I would even have considered it in Imperial Age. They don't even have onagers or heavy scorpions, but what they do have is siege rams, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they do. An absolute slaughter here. And all of a sudden, our Hun takes a massive kill lead in villager and in military count. And Survivalist is huddled inside his base. Oh no. What a ridiculous back and forth game between these two players. 60 army count for our red Cuman, 70 for our blue Hun, who needs to back away. Again, no trade is a good trade against skirmishers here, as 3 cav archers just bite the dust. Even at 20% off, your cav archers should not be engaging, but the gate's open, and in comes the Bloodless. Parked his ass underneath the gate, keeping it up. And Survivalist has now no choice. He's got to move in. It looks like Tarkin has made his way in here as well. Oh no, Survivalist just basically opened the gates for his opponent, but his opponent's a little bit shy to go into here. Tarkins are there, but the cav archers are staying outside. The last thing they want to do is get cornered with their backs against the wall against these houses and then allow the Step Lancers to stack themselves. Ooh, that one Tarkin to the rear. We'll see how much damage he can get done. But again, to be fair, these skirmishers from our Cuman are doing a decent job. They're just picking off more and more units. It's all like the Bloodless is training a million units at once. I mean, he can afford to. Look at the Huns' resources. Holy moly. At this point, do you just delete all your villagers and build a 200 army count? Burgundian style? What the hell do you do with 3,000 gold, 11,000 food? I guess you spend it on siege ram upgrades, which are super duper expensive. What is it, 1,000 food? The Tarkin is still to the rear. 2 kills have become 11, 12, and now he's facing off against skirmishers that are literally doing 1 damage per shot. I don't know why the Bloodless is being so hesitant to engage into this Cuman base. Look at his resources. He should be trying to trade out and exchange armies over and over and over again. He sees that on the minimap he's controlling the entire map. I don't know, it must have been a better way to say that. Step Lancer sally forth. Might as well just delete this building already and go straight for the cav archers on the left side. Oh no, reinforcements are just being picked off one at a time. The Tarkin, 19, 20 kills. We saw this in the Celt Burmese game that we live streamed, that one hero champion who killed 25 villagers and a paladin before finally biting the dust. But Survivalist, his reinforcements are pathing through the worst possible area. They're dying on the left, they're dying in the center. But here come the Step Lancers. Here they come. Remember, they are faster than the cav archers. And the more Bloodless micros these cav archers, the more Survivalists can micro somewhere else. But this has got to be so frustrating. This has got to be so wait a second. No, it looked like for a second he was about to catch up. I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff happening all across the map, but it is hard not to look at this cat and mouse game. Tarkin's on the left, cavalry archers to the right. The blue army has dispersed significantly. And Survivalist, frustrated, has had enough. And that's all she wrote. Wow. Wow. The frustration is real. How many kills on this one time? How the hell is this Tarkin even still alive? 26 villager kills, 31 total kills. Absolute mayhem erupting here at the later stages of the game. What a beautiful... I mean, the scores are nowhere close, so the resources gathered are nowhere close, but what an incredible back and forth game for the first half. I mean, Survivalist pushing out, Castle going up, not denied. Unfortunately, his opponent reaching Imperial first with the Trebs firing, destroying the center position, then taking that amazing engagement here where he absolutely wiped the floor with the Bloodless, killed the Tarkans, got all of the offensive Trebs, but then inexplicably moved into the base with his Step Lancers, lost his entire army, and then ever since that has been on the back foot. Wow, wow, wow. Both players plopping down huge amounts of infrastructure, but ultimately it is our blue Hun who just gobbles up all of the neutral resources and contested resources out on the map. He is just everywhere, and even though he's only got 114 villagers, that just frees up more and more resources and room for army. And does he even need 114 villagers? He's got 2,000 wood still left in the bank, 3 rams, a trainin, 1 cav archer. How many kills do we think the cav archers have? 123. So he babysat these cav archers fantastically, and right at the end of the game, their Survivalist was just streaming individual light cavalry units to their deaths. I mean, look at this. They're just dying everywhere. He's got that Tarkin to the back of his base, absolutely wrecking his economy, even though 9 more volleys from a skirmisher will kill this unit. I mean, even a town center at this point, I think, should be able to do quite well. But Survivalists just way too focused on microing these Step Lancers, and ultimately, can you blame him? Throws his hands up in disgust at the inability to close on this army, at the loss of map control, the loss of resources, and now where the kill count was even at 196 to 200, look at it now. The Bloodless 517 to 331. He's killed 60 more villagers than his opponent. Light cav and skirmishers, against the Hunnic horde of 121 Tarkans, cav archers, and hussars. I mean, the Step Lancers, who doesn't love to see Step Lancers? And like I said, when you got 51 Step Lancers out on the map, kind of hard not to be cock of the walk and feel supremely confident that you've got the game in the bag. But one terrible engagement, the Bloodless just leaves this farm on fire. Okay, this is like I remember my trip to Belgrade, where they've left some of the buildings that were, I think, bombed by NATO or by the U.S. Army, or U.S. Air Force. They just leave some of the buildings kind of damaged for, I guess, historical purposes. This is what that farm is like. The Bloodless just leaves it, says, you know what, let this be a reminder to my people, to my villagers, to my Tarkans and my army, that this is what can happen to us if we ever let Survivalist into our base. And he is just streaming more units, and unlike the reinforcing units of red, blue here is just streaming uncontested army count, literally 5 times bigger or so than his opponent, even though PKPM not that great, double digits. 39 minutes in, 47 minutes in for Survivalist. I can't see the economies being too similar at all. 20,000 resource difference is more than 20% bigger economy. And the 5,000, he didn't even need the 5,000 gold. He ends the game with how much? 2,000 extra gold in his pocket. So the 5,000 gold definitely did help out. Almost 9,000 more gold than his opponent. An extra 2 castles worth of stone. What is that? About 7,000 food, and just a little bit more wood for our Hun, although it doesn't need as much wood because his cav archers, remember, are 20% off. 7 to 4 conversions, 30 raisings to 12, and Survivalist, despite taking firm control in the early to mid stage of the game with his infrastructure, his penetration of the base, he went straight for that frickin' monastery. He knew he had to dislodge those relics, and he tried his darndest with his rams and his kipjacks, and then ultimately the pivot to Step Lancers. And wow, he took an amazing engagement. He actually took a few pretty good engagements, but I think ever since he tried to penetrate through this area and either misclicked the farm or wanted to kill the farm for some reason, just let the cav archers keep firing in the castle. How many kills? 10 kills on this castle. Wow, ever since then, Survivalist has kind of been on the back foot, and then opened the gate to the left, opened the gate to the right, and one single Tarkin, flaming torch held high, about to kill yet another villager, about to crush even more economy, completely uncontested. I mean, come on, 26 villager kills. It is just a badass Tarkin here. And against Survivalist, not Survivalist, the Bloodless, just focusing in on this mining camp. Why is he trying to kill this mining camp so bad? And ultimately, Survivalist tries to catch up to the army, but realizing that he can't, that he's going to get outmaneuvered left, right, and center, throws his hands up in disgust, selects his control group, hits that big old juicy delete button. And unfortunately for Survival, is just way too many things going wrong. Map control completely given over to the Hun. Relics to the Hun. All of it is coming up Hun. And so Survivalist realizes that, lives to fight another day by tapping out. And it is the Bloodless who takes the W. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.